This is Tom Talks Online Marketing Podcast, bringing practical solutions for today's online marketing dilemmas. I'm Derrel Allen, your host and owner of Total Online Marketing. Welcome to the very first Tom Talks Online Marketing. I'm Derrel Allen. I'm going to be your host with guest hosts that will show up occasionally. And I am the owner of Total Online Marketing. And I want to say that this is my humble approach to kind of share the knowledge that I've gained over several years doing online marketing. And I'm hoping that I can find some things that will help you out. I like to say passing out golden nuggets of knowledge. So let's get started, shall we? And let me give you a little bit of history of how I got into online marketing. It was through a series of events that who knew that it would turn out the way it did. So I have to go back into the 1990s, way back when. I like to say it was even before there was a Google. So here's how we got started. Basically, a magician. That's me. I do magic. I'm a professional magician. That just means occasionally I've gotten paid to do gigs. So professional magician, I got to have a website, right? That's what everybody does. They put a website up for their business or a side hustle, whatever it is. And of course, starting out from scratch, I just put it on free hosting sites. And then as I became like actually, people noticing me, I decided I better get onto real hosting. And that triggers in my cousin and somewhat neighborhood partner, if you will, in Total Online Marketing. And I'm sure he'll be joining us on future episodes, Jason. So Jason and I got to host my website on his reseller hosting plan for internet hosting, so put my www out there and bought a domain name, which I still have to this day. So 25-year-old domain, basically. And so here we are. I did that. And as I went on, occasionally I would go through and I would look for magicians in Dallas, and I would search and I would see a whole bunch of people that sometimes I knew, sometimes I didn't know. And I would see me somewhere on page 1, 2, or 3. And it really didn't bother me not to be number 1 at that time because, well, I had a lot of friends who were full-time magicians and I was working a, regular job. So I was not dependent financially on having a great response to doing magic. So if I got found and I got hired, it was okay. And if I didn't really worry about it. I just know that, being where I was in Google or search engines at the time, it was good enough. But one year I moved, and after I had moved to my new location, and I got to thinking about things, and the things that I was thinking about was, how come my phone's not even ringing with, not prank calls, but telemarketer calls or whatever. They weren't calling the number I had set up for doing magic. And essentially it was my cell phone, but it just wasn't ringing with those types of calls anymore. And I got to looking, I said, well, you know what? I think I'll go search. And this was late October of 2010. And I get on the internet and I start Googling for magician in Dallas, right? And at the point, once again, I would say a few people that I knew. I saw a lot of people that I did not know. And it's not that I know everybody, but the people I was seeing, they weren't actually even in Dallas. They were like maybe like far out Texas or even in other states, but they were ranking in the top of Google for magician in Dallas. Kind of strange. So I continued to go through the pages there. I wasn't on page 1, wasn't on page 2, wasn't on page 3. And I went, okay, let's keep going. 4, 5. Now by this time I'm getting a little worried. 6, 7, and I'm one of those kind of guys. I got to find, well, where am I if I'm not there? Finally, I landed on page 13 of Google, and what did I find? Yes, that's where my omagic.com website was located. Page 13 for Magician in Dallas. I was so upset. I mean, I was so upset that I called up Jason. I'm on page 13 of Google. So he said, well, you need to go do a few things. You need to go do this and that. And it was things that I somewhat knew to do, but I hadn't been doing them. And he was giving me a fresh reminder of go do these things. And so I said, okay, I'll take care of it. Right. And without any more help from him, I started working on it. And then I did another search 6 weeks later, middle of December, right? All of November had passed, and now it's about the middle of December, and I did a search, and son of a gun. Oh, and the reason I did the search is because I'd gotten some phone calls. So I go do the search, and there I am. I was at the bottom, but I was on page 1. So I had rocketed from page 13 to page 1 in literally 6 weeks. And so I called up Jason and said, hey, go do a search. And he saw me and he goes, wow, you really do know what you're doing. And, I don't want to brag on myself and say, well, I knew it, right? I just probably, Pareto rules, or Parento, I think is, so essentially, 80%, 20%, right? And I was doing the stuff that got me up there, but hey, Magician in Dallas is not that competitive. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But still, the essence, the knowledge was there of what to do. And at that point, he invited me to help him out with some things. And plus, I had other entertainers that I was familiar with and associated with, and I knew that they could use some of this knowledge. So we set about helping out a few other entertainer type people in the area, and that led to doing some lectures at magician conventions. And additionally, it led to me working with some of Jason's clients that it was a little overflow work, if you will, and got those people ranking. And matter of fact, a couple of them fired me because they got too busy. The phone calls were coming in, and they weren't actually ready to grow their business. They just wanted more business, but they didn't want so much business that they had to hire people and things like that. So I learned about what kind of clients I needed to get with that. The other thing I did during this time of learning, I also started like an e-commerce website. And son of a gun, this was at a boot camp, a Collin College boot camp class, and I literally went from building a website on one Saturday, and it was a Saturday boot camp class, like 3 or 4 weeks. I can't remember exactly, but I built it on one Saturday, and the following Saturday, we went and checked the rankings of that website. And while it wasn't on page 1, but it was ranked, whereas the instructors, the guy doing the lessons, he had a client that was selling the same object on the e-commerce website, and my brand new website was actually ranked higher than his client, at which point I got the student has become the sensei. And that was a really good feeling to let me know that I did know what I was talking about. Well, in the years since then, I've also joined several mastermind groups, and I've really I pride myself on trying to become a learner, and I feel fairly well, and I've not stopped learning. I still get in with mastermind groups and podcasts and books and oh, good old YouTube. Hey, there's a lot of great information out all over the world, but you do need to be able to discern and understand which ones are real, good, and functional. And that's what I hope to do with Tom Talks Online Marketing Podcast. And obviously, I'm Derrel Allen. I am not Tom. So Tom is my acronym, Total Online Marketing. And the Total Online Marketing website is totalmagic.com. I have been able to say, and I hope it's still true today when you're listening to this podcast, that wherever you are in the world, if you will search for Total Online Marketing on Google, hopefully you'll see me there on page 1. If not, hey, I'm going to get to work on it. So that's what we're doing here with the Tom Talks Online Marketing. It's going to be more than just ranking your website. Because one of the things that I have learned is that if you have a website that can't be found, obviously you're not going to get the phone to ring. But if you have a website that can be found, and let's say you are ranked up there number 1 or whatever, you paid a lot of money or done a lot of work to get your SEO, search engine optimization, so good that you are considered number 1 for your particular niche, service, catalog, product, but nobody's buying. Now we've got a different problem, and we're going to address some of those problems too. So in the coming weeks, if you have questions, feel free to send them in to me. You can email me, that's G-O, go at totalonlinemarketing.net. And we're going to be happy to help you out with some of the issues you have. Looking forward to your questions, looking forward to the people that will have guests appearing on the show. And if you feel like you want your business on here, just drop us a line at go@totalonlinemarketing.net. We'd be happy to discuss some of the things. We want to talk about what are your successes, what are your problems, what are the obstacles you have to overcome, some of the real wins that you've seen, and maybe share a few golden nuggets so everybody can get a lot of benefit out of this. Now, I don't want to keep my podcast very long, and when I have a whole lot more technical information, something good to share, I'm sure that we'll try to get them out there a little bit longer. This inaugural one, I'm just kind of introducing myself. I hope you learned a little bit about me. I hope you are intrigued to find out what we can do for you. I plan on dropping these things every week, so just stay tuned. I'm Derrel Allen with Total Online Marketing, and I hope to see you very soon, either at some meeting somewhere or at some convention, or possibly face-to-face as a client or as a joint venture. Who knows? We've got all kinds of things we can be doing. I'm looking forward to working with you, giving you your questions. I hope to have some good answers for you. That's all I have for you right today. So, Derrel Allen, Total Online Marketing. Thank you for listening to Tom Talks Online Marketing. Talk to you soon.